Alright, today we're going to be working with Excel. We're going to use it to calculate and crunch the data that we got from our lead fission weight lab. Alright, now as you remember, you weighed the fission weight, you dropped it in the beaker, found out how much water it displaced, and then you recorded all your data here. So, first thing we're going to do is we're going to actually calculate density. So I'm going to put density at the top of the column here. Alright. Now, one thing I am going to do, because I think it will make it a little bit easier, I'm going to zoom this in a little bit so it's a little bit bigger so you guys can see it. Alright. And I think I'm going to remove the timestamp. Okay, you guys can do this too if you like. Actually, that'll make it easier. The way you remove a column is you just click on the letter at the top of the column. Columns have letters, rows have numbers. And you right-click and you hit delete. Oh, it doesn't look like that's there, so if you can't do it that way, you go edit, delete column A. You'll say OK. Alright, so now that's gone. Alright, now what we're going to do is, after we've deleted it, and I know this is Excel, I think on other forms you can just right click and go delete. Alright, what we're going to do is we're just going to actually calculate the density. Now, the way you do that is pretty simple. You just say equals, and we're going to do this as a formula, this first shell, which is the weight, density equals mass divided by volume. So we're going to hit that, slash, the volume in this case was in milliliters. Now you notice we don't have any units here, which is helpful, but this is going to be grams per cubic centimeter, grams per milliliter. And if you enter, that's the amount. Alright. Now we know a little bit about significant figures, and if you take a look at this, you realize this is way not significant figures. There really shouldn't be any more than two significant figures in this. Alright, but we're just going to leave this for now as it is. The other thing I'm going to do is the title row, I'm going to bold it. Oops. I'm going to put it in bold so that you can see it. Now, so what do I want to do here? Well, I think what I want to do is I want to do the density for everybody. Right now I've just done the first one, but it would be easier. I could click in each row and type the same thing over again, but there's a thing called a relative drag fill. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my cursor over to the lower corner, and when I do, it turns into a black cross. That black cross means if I drag down, it's going to drag the formula down. Now watch what happens. Alright? What it's really doing is, in the top column, it's A2. If you look at the formula bar up here, it's A2 divided by B2. The next one is, whoops. Okay, the next one is A3 divided by B3, and it just draws the whole thing down as a relative drag fill. Everything's done exactly the same. Alright? So we've got all these. Now, we are not going to put this in significant figures because the number of significant figures for these guys vary. So what I'm going to do is I'm just so we don't have these massive numbers, I'm going to format the cell. I'm going to click at the top where it says format over here. I'm going to go number, and I'm going to go to, say, 2 decimal places. Okay, this looks a little odd, but let's see if that works. Okay, so now we got it in 2 decimal places. So it gives you a little bit closer idea. I mean, clearly those extra numbers were not doing anything. So now, alright, well that's the density, or I should say, I'm going to change this not to density, but calculated density. Alright, so that's what we calculated. C-A-C-U-L-A-T-D. Now I'm going to go here, and we're going to go actual density. So I'm going to go to, okay, let's be honest, Wikipedia. And if I drag it over, you can actually see here, the actual density, if you drag down, is 11.34 grams per cubic centimeter. So I'm going to go back. 11.34 grams per cubic centimeter. So that's the actual density. Now, so we've calculated the density, and I'm going to actually drag this down. The way you do this is just go to the lower right hand corner, drag it down, and it just drags that number down all the way. Where's that right now? Edit, undo. just keep on dragging it down one after the other until boom. Okay, there we go. So you got that. Now, so you get the actual density, you get this, and so now the question is, how do you calculate the percent error? Well, the percent error is how much, what's the difference between these two, and how much is, what percentages of that of the actual density. So what you first have to do is you have to calculate the difference. Now this is a situation where in order to get the order of operation right, you're going to have to use parentheses. So when I type in a formula, I type in equals, and I'm going to say, okay, it equals this, the actual density, minus the density I measured. Okay, and that gives me the difference. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to put these two guys in parentheses. Then what I have to do is I then have to divide everything by the actual density. So if you can actually see my little formula here, I'm going to click on it. If you look up here in the upper corner in the formula bar, it's that minus that divided by this. Divided by, okay, I'm having a problem getting this to work, divided by D2. Divided by E2, my mistake. There we go. Alright, and that gives you the percent. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a relative drag fill. I'm going to drag it all the way down. Alright, that gives me all these wacky numbers. And then I'm going to say, okay, I'm just going to convert this to a percent. There's a couple ways of doing it. You click on the formula. And actually, I can just go over here. Sometimes you'll find an icon for a percent. You can just click on that, and that'll convert it into a percent. Alright? Or I can click on it at the top, go to Format, and then Number, and then somewhere in there will be, if you go down into Formats, it'll probably give you percentages of choice. Alright? So that's how you do the formatting of the number. Alright, so if you take a look at this, what you'll find is, well, some people, like the first guy here, James, he was off by 12%, not bad. Dylan was off by 8%. Okay, some people are off by a little bit more, some people are off by a little bit less. So you have to ask, okay, so what sort of things may cause these errors to occur? So, what I'm going to ask you guys to do is I'm going to actually ask you to look at the numbers over here. Alright, and see if you can figure out what it was that caused these errors. Like, what might have caused the density to be offset by so much? Was it possible that when you read the volume it was wrong? Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. What I'm going to have you do right now, I just want you to save this, put your name on it, save it, and then you're going to upload to the place where I provided.